Hi. In this video, we want to begin to explore a new place, a very real but incredibly strange world. We'll find, surprisingly, that we actually live in this place, but we live in it without experiencing it, at least not consciously. But we very much need to not only visit it, but to study it and become intimately familiar with it, because it is our true home. Before we can take that first step toward this place, we need to pay our respects to a high priest of science. Science is the discoverer of this world and our guide. I'd like you to Google Dr. Don Lincoln's video, The Nature of Matter, and watch it. It's only 5 minutes, a time or two. Our discussion will begin where the good Dr. Lincoln leaves off. Okay, you're back. You may have been impressed with one of the last sentences in the video. Quote, "At the most basic and fundamental level, you are nothing more than a bunch of empty space and force fields." Now, let's just take a second here to talk about where this video comes from and who made it. And after some serious consideration, I think we'll be justified in emphatically saying, what the fuck? Because this is not some former hippie like me telling you that what the priestess of the Great Pyramid revealed to him on his last psilocybin trip. What we have here is a video by an esteemed physicist who does a lot of informational videos. He's part of Fermilab, where they do, according to their website, research into the fundamental nature of the universe. They're a big deal in science. The video also has the stamp of the National Science Foundation, founded in 1950 by Franklin Roosevelt, which funds major scientific projects. Scientists write grant applications for funding. Who they write to is often the National Science Foundation. So this video has the goods. It might be a touch nerdy, but when it comes to having the backing of the big guns of modern science, this video has it in spades. It's as scientifically legit as it gets. So we can squirm all we want while trying to escape, but what this boils down to is, unless we like thinking of ourselves as science deniers, we really have no choice but to accept what the good Dr. Lincoln is telling us and make that force field reality our base plane. And to be honest, I've been looking for a video like this for years. I went through my own what the fuck phase years ago, when the simple fact that atoms are pretty much empty barreled like a runaway train into the concrete wall of another well-established fact, that we're made of nothing but atoms. For the life of me, I could not wrap my brain around it, but it seemed inescapable. If you add one almost empty thing like an atom to another, you get something double the size, but equally empty proportionally. You can do this 10 times, or 10 trillion, and the proportion of emptiness remains the same. You can do it with math. Something has a proportion of 1 to 100. Double it, and it's 2 to 200. You can keep doubling all day, and you'll still end up with the same proportion. An atom's empty, and even with 10 trillion or whatever atoms we have, we are equally empty. So I did some searching, and sure enough, there were many scientists out there saying the same thing. I found that a human body has an amount of solid matter about the size of one piece of lead dust, very small, and that if you put all the solid from all the humans on Earth together, you'd get something about the size of a sugar cube. That's from Symmetry Magazine, which is, again, the official publication of Fermilab. I also wrote and asked a few major physicists who all confirmed. So the more I thought about it and researched it and thought about it and researched it, the more my solid world slowly started to dissolve. Because this is nuts, right? How can we be empty space? I can see you, you can see me, okay, through this medium, but you can feel that you're a real solid person, and I can feel that I am. How could an empty space be talking to you right now? It's freaking crazy. But saying that does not let us wake up and make it go away. Okay. So we're forced to accept this craziness, but no one says we have to believe it's important. After all, science is full of facts that are mind-blowing, but not exactly relevant to real life. Like when we hear we're made out of stardust, which sounds very romantic and I guess has some truth to it, but doesn't exactly rock my everyday world. or that there are more stars in the universe than all the grains of sand on all the beaches and deserts of Earth. Again, an amazing fact one I think about every time I see a beach or sand dune, but not a fact I have any way of using. Isn't this the same thing? Why shouldn't I just shake my head, say, cool, and go back to Netflix? How the hell can I use the fact, firmly established scientific fact, that we're made out of force fields to actually do anything? Is it immaterial that we're immaterial? Well, let's look at that. At the very least, we have to admit that this is something we didn't really expect to hear. Even scientists were originally knocked off course by it. John Dalton, the father of chemistry, who was one of the first to figure out much of how atoms were built, believed that they would eventually be found to be, quote, hard, round, brassy, impenetrable balls, which is sort of a polar opposite from the truth. And even though he died in 1844, his view that material substance is at the base of everything is still the one most of us have. And that's where the rubber meets the road, it seems to me. The reason we should pay attention to this energy force thing is that it's about us, entirely about us and what we're made of. If we're beings made out of energy and force, let's combine those two words and call that Enners for short, then our normal way of perceiving ourselves is incorrect. Solid human creatures in a solid world of separate objects is not what we are. We are creatures almost entirely without substance. This Enners is the base of everything. And through its patterns and myriad compositions, it builds not just our lovely Earth and its creatures, but the entire universe. If we want to be in contact with our inner truth, we need to learn to accept and understand the reality of the Enners world. Only then can we live in reality and begin to know how to use it. In coming videos, we'll discuss ways how to make this Enners world real for us and how to use it to make our lives more meaningful. You'll find out how it's helped me sleep better, exercise without effort, have deeper meditation, and lessen my stress to begin with. Many more things. Because if you think about it, doing anything in a human body without really understanding what a human body is going to be way harder and way less likely to succeed than beginning from a place of true knowledge about our nature. Like trying to operate a spaceship while thinking it's a bicycle. It's not likely to be fully successful. But again, there's no problem with you just ignoring this whole thing and forgetting it. Nothing will happen if you decide to just drop it. And if you're fine with nothing happening, then that's just what you should do. I'm not selling anything here, just excited and sharing. But instead, if you're ready to open a door into a new world of perception and possibilities and help me explore it, then stay tuned. Thanks.